you are probably on a beach right now, or planning to be soon. Palm trees, warm sand, a coconut drink. You have heard the warning before. Coconuts kill more people than sharks. It gets repeated every single year. But here is something nobody tells you. That number is not just exaggerated. It is not slightly wrong either. It came from almost nowhere real, and yet that does not mean coconuts are safe. The actual danger is stranger than the myth. This is the story of one small hospital, one honest doctor, one number misused for decades, and a real physical threshold hiding underneath. But to understand how a myth like this survives, you first need to understand where it started. Most people think this fact came from research, global research, careful counting, real scientists worldwide. It did not. It came from one small place, Milne Bay Province, Papua New Guinea, one hospital, one doctor, 4 years of data. His name was Peter Barse, a trauma doctor working in a remote hospital. He was not chasing headlines. He was simply logging patient injuries. Every trauma case, every cause carefully recorded. Barse had already worked in difficult places, Papua New Guinea, Angola during active conflict. He studied injury patterns for a living, not viral facts, actual clinical patterns, the kind that help hospitals prepare, not panic. His coconut paper later won an odd honor. In 2001, it received the Ig Nobel Prize, an award for research that sounds silly, but is completely real and properly published. The prize even joked that the study should not or cannot be repeated, not because it was wrong, because the topic itself was so unusual. Barse never claimed a global death count. He simply noticed a local injury pattern. That distinction is where this whole story hinges. In 1984, he published his findings. The title was blunt: Injuries Due to Falling Coconuts. Over 4 years, he found something specific. 2.5% of trauma admissions were people struck by falling coconuts, not deaths. Injuries. That distinction matters enormously. He also mentioned 2 earlier deaths, but those were old, second-hand reports, not confirmed cases from his own hospital data. This was small, honest, local research. Nothing about 150 deaths a year. Nothing about sharks at all. That part was added later by someone else entirely. So here is the actual number. 2 anecdotal deaths. 1 province, 4 years. That is what the original study actually says. Not a global count, not a comparison to sharks, just one small local warning sign. Everything else was built on top of that. In the 1990s, a company found this study, Club Direct, a UK travel insurance firm. They were selling insurance for island trips. They needed something eye-catching, so they added their own claim. Coconuts, they said, are 10 times more dangerous than sharks. No data supported that number. It was marketing, nothing more. Then in 2002, something worse happened. George Burgess, a real shark researcher, spoke publicly. He led the International Shark Attack File, a respected, credible organization. He repeated a number in an interview. Falling coconuts kill 150 people every year. Where did he get that number? He later admitted the truth. He found it online, nowhere else. He never checked the original source. Journalists trusted him instantly, without question, and from there it spread everywhere. This is not theoretical, this is documented. A marketing slogan repeated by an expert turned into common knowledge within years. Nobody traced it back to one hospital. Here's the catch, though. The myth is fake. The danger is not. Barse's original paper also included real physics, numbers that were never part of the myth. A ripe coconut can weigh 2 kilograms. Coconut trees often grow past 25 meters. He calculated the impact speed of a fall, around 80 kilometers per hour at full height. That is not internet guesswork. That is real, calculated, physical science. At that speed, a direct hit can fracture bone. The exact damage depends on other factors too. A direct hit is far worse than a glancing one. The surface underneath matters as well. Soft sand absorbs some of the impact. Hard concrete absorbs almost none of it. Same coconut, same height, very different outcome. So the 150 deaths number is fake, but gravity does not need a fake number. A 2-kilogram object falling that fast is dangerous with or without a myth. This danger has real historical evidence, too. In 1966 in Rabaul, Papua New Guinea, a man was eating lunch outdoors. A falling coconut struck his head. He died from the impact. In 1973, in Waikiki, Hawaii, a 2-year-old girl was walking. Several coconuts fell from a tall tree. She was killed. Her aunt was injured. These are documented, dated news reports, not internet legend, actual recorded events. Rare, but real. That is the honest picture. Compare that to sharks for a moment. Sharks actually have a real global tracking system. The International Shark Attack File counts every year. Recent averages sit around 6 to 8 deaths worldwide. In 2025, that number rose to 12. Coconuts have no equivalent tracking system at all. No agency counts coconut deaths globally ever. So the original comparison was never even possible. One side has real data, the other has guesses. That alone should have stopped the myth decades ago. It did not. The myth was simply too catchy. It is not random tourists on lounge chairs. It is people working directly beneath these trees. Coconut harvesters who climb trees for a living. In several countries, this remains a common job. Falls from height, not falling fruit, cause most injuries here. Machete cuts while opening coconuts cause thousands more. Resort workers know this risk personally. In Thailand, the Philippines, and parts of India, some hotels trim coconut trees on schedule, not because of a viral statistic, because of ordinary practical safety planning. Nobody there needed the 150 deaths headline. They just trusted the real local pattern. Coconut harvesting itself carries serious, everyday risk. Some workers climb trees without safety equipment. A fall from that height can be fatal, long before any coconut even starts falling. In parts of India, trained climbers use ropes. In other regions, workers still climb barehanded. This is a genuine occupational hazard, worldwide, one that gets almost no international attention. It never trends online. It has no catchy number. It is simply a quiet, ongoing risk for workers. So back to that beach chair, under a tall coconut tree. You are not following an urban legend by moving your seat. You are simply respecting basic physics. No myth required for that to matter. But zoom out for a second. This case reveals something bigger than fruit. A small, honest study. A marketing slogan. One unverified quote from a real expert. That chain built a myth in years. It survived for more than 2 decades. Nobody checked the very first step. Everyone trusted the version they heard last. That is how most viral facts are born. Not from lies. From small shortcuts, repeated endlessly. Think about the actual chain step by step. One honest doctor logs local hospital data. One company adds a marketing slogan on top. One respected expert repeats it without checking. Journalists quote the expert, not the original study. The internet repeats the journalists forever after. By the final step, the hospital data is gone completely. Only the scary headline survives the whole journey. This pattern shows up far beyond coconuts too. Many shocking facts follow this exact same path. A real detail, a confident guess, then repetition. Repetition is what makes something feel true, not evidence. Just repetition, over and over again. The uncomfortable truth is this. Most people will keep repeating the fake number because it is simpler than the real story. A number is easy to remember. A chain of small distortions is not. So next time someone tells you, coconuts kill more than sharks, you will know the real story. One hospital, one honest doctor, one number, misused for decades. And underneath all of it, real physics that never needed the myth at all. The myth was never really about coconuts. It was about how easily a small number travels, how quickly a slogan becomes accepted science, and how rarely anyone stops to check the source. That habit matters. Far beyond this one fruit. Subscribe for more stories like this one. Next time we open your own kitchen, something far more common than a coconut. See you in the next one.